Hey guys, it's Corey, and I'm back with an Anthem video. So, choosing a main for some people can be quite difficult. While I've already chose my own main, I know there's still some people who are on the fence. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about each Javelin, and I'm going to try and give a little bit of an insight into how they're played. If the video does its job, then it should give people a helping hand on deciding their main. So let's head straight into the video. So the first Javelin that we're going to be talking about is the Ranger. So the best way that I can describe the Ranger is that it's the jack of all trades. You can get a decent bit of everything with the Ranger, and you can try out which sort of parts of the build that you like. Whether this be the crowd control, the damage dealing, or the tank. The Ranger has all three aspects under its wing, and it can pretty much use those to its advantage. Because of this, it makes the Ranger a very versatile character. This can be a huge help when you're running a team that's more specialised, as the Ranger can sort of fill in the roles that aren't there. As a quick example, you could be running a team that's got 2 Storms and an Interceptor. That means that they've got no tank character. The Ranger could then take the tank role and be the healer of the team. So overall, if you're really unsure of what characters to pick, then the Ranger is probably your best option. That being said, the Ranger's got a good balance of health and mobility, and with its ease of use, it can complement a lot of people's playstyles and help them to play a little bit better. The second Javelin that we're going to be talking about is the Colossus. The best way that I can describe him is the battle support character. A good Colossus will be able to tank damage while also dealing damage with its ultimate and its abilities. From what we've saw, you can go one of 2 paths with the Colossus. You can either go high damage Colossus or high defense Colossus. Either one is pretty decent when used in the right situation. If not, it can lead to the Colossus either not being able to do enough damage to kill enemies or dying too easily because it's doing too much damage. While dealing too much damage is okay for an Interceptor or a Storm, the Colossus doesn't have the mobility to get away from combat. This ends up making it a sitting duck on the battlefield, but with the massive health bar that it employs, it shouldn't really be an issue. So the next Javelin we're going to be talking about is the Interceptor. This is Anthem's rogue class. The Interceptor is a really quick and speedy character. It can go from enemy to enemy, killing them in seconds. This is because the Interceptor is a single target DPS character. It can mainly focus on one enemy and kill them really quickly, but it doesn't deal well with enemies in groups. However, if you can single out targets in a group to make the group smaller, then the Interceptor is really good. A quick thing to take into account is the fact that the Interceptor is a glass cannon. It doesn't have really high health or shield, so you have to take that into consideration during combat. So the last Javelin that we're going to be talking about is the Storm. The Storm is pretty much Anthem's mage class. If you prefer playing a mage in an RPG, then this is probably the character you're going to go for. So the main point of the Storm is to hover around the battlefield, take out groups of enemies, and take out snipers on their own. You can utilise 3 of the main elements in the game, which is lightning, fire, and ice. Because the Storm is the character that I'm going to main, I'm probably going to use an ice build on it, just so I can freeze enemies in place, and then I'll be able to finish them off with my sniper. A good thing about the Storm is the fact that it's a glass cannon, meaning that it can deal a high amount of damage. The only downside is the fact that it's got low health and shields. Another thing to add is the fact that the Storm has an increased hover duration, so you can hover around the battlefield longer than any of the other Javelins. So I've pretty much given a description of each of the 4 Javelins, so now I'm just going to talk about some of the things that might come into account when you're actually playing them. I'm just going to call these just the downsides. So the first downside I'm going to talk about is the Ranger. Because he's a jack of all trades, he's a user of all but master of none sort of character. It won't be as easy to master abilities like you would with the other 3 Javelins. Instead, you'll have to use your abilities together and create a synergy between them. So the second downside that I'm going to talk about is the Colossus. Due to its high defense, it excels better in a group. However, if you're using it alone, then you need to spec into damage. You need its abilities to be doing the most damage they can. Otherwise, killing enemies is going to take ages and you'll be sat there all day. This isn't exactly ideal when you're trying to get to endgame. So the third downside I'm going to talk about is the Interceptor. The Interceptor excels when it's just doing damage to one target. If it comes up against a crowd of enemies, it can start to struggle. This should be kept in mind when playing an Interceptor solo. However, in a group it should be okay. If you do decide on playing an Interceptor solo, then you should be keeping an eye on your health and shields. When these start to drop, it's always a good idea to get into cover and wait until your shields come back. So the last downside that I'm going to talk about is the Storm. While the Storm excels at hovering, that means that there's no cover for it to go to. So you're an easy target while you're flying in the air. You've got no cover at all. And with the Storm's low health and shields, it makes it even worse when it's hovering in the air, because you could be sniped down or shot at any time. A good rule of thumb is that if you're flying about or hovering, stay close to allies, so that if you do go down, you can get revived pretty quickly. So that's my thoughts on the 4 Javelins of Anthem. While I know there's other channels that have done content like this, I feel that they go too in depth about the characters and the different Javelins, and it can actually put people off using them. So this video is more for people who want a generalised spin on each of the Javelins, just so they can get sort of a taste of what they're mainly used for. So anyway guys, that's the end of the video. I'm going to apologise again for the lack of Anthem gameplay, but the game still isn't out. I think it's going to be out tomorrow at 10:30, so I'll be able to play it then. So then any of my future Anthem videos will have their own gameplay to sort of go along with. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe so you can stay up to date with my uploads. And I'll see you guys in the next video.